everyone, Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. So let's look at the energy coming up this week. Today is Wednesday, March 7th, and we've got some interesting astrology coming up towards the end of the week. Specifically, Friday and Saturday is what I want to look at because the weekend, I feel like we're building up to it already. I'm already feeling some of the effects of this energy. I want to start by stating that we have a lot of Pisces energy happening right now. There are currently 4 planets. When we have the new moon in Pisces, there will be 5 planets in the sign of Pisces. That gives a lot of this watery, imaginative energy that's highly intuitive, highly sensitive, sometimes out of touch with reality. So not always showing us what's happening right now, but maybe what is to come or what's happening energetically behind the scenes, but not always accurately reflecting back to us what is happening right now. So I feel that energy already this week. I just feel like it's hard to make plans stick right now. You've really got to do the water sign thing and go with the flow in order to feel like things are moving. If you have a plan right now, if you've had a plan this week, you might notice plans are not unfolding the way that you want them to, partly due to just the energy right now is not, there's not a lot of grounding like earth energy to really anchor that in. There's earth energy in here in our planetary mix, but water's dominating and water flows and it's going to do its thing, and eventually it's going to go in the direction that you want things to go, but not always in a typical way. And so plans seem to be going astray. And then we hit Saturday. That's when it really just feels like a cat just knock the water glass off the counter is what it feels like to me, because we've got Mars square Uranus. And so Mars, the planet of action, is in a type of conflict with Uranus, the plot twist planet. And so there is a frustration, natural frustration of like, I've got something I need to get done. And Uranus just being like, well, guess what? Plans just changed. Guess what? I just turned the world upside down. I don't know how many of the people watching this have ever watched the revamp of My Little Pony. I have kids, so I've watched plenty of My Little Pony. But there's a character in that show called Discord, and his world is sort of upside down, and that's kind of very much how this combination feels. And I feel like I'm already feeling the effects of it. But the basic gist is plans don't go as planned. And things seem to be off kilter, like they're just not clicking yet. They're just, your plan just isn't clicking into place yet. And the idea here is not to take it personally. I do think it ends up working out in the end. It's just not working out the way you thought it would work out. And sometimes that works out in our favor. Sometimes it works out better than your plan. And other times you feel like, that was a real roundabout way of getting to the point when I really just wanted to go straight through. So that's coming up on Saturday, and you kind of feel it coming in on Friday. And then Sunday is the new moon in Pisces, where we've got the moon adding itself to the Pisces energy, meaning even emotionally feeling like more sensitive, more fluid, more, the things that water can do. Water can be really serene and calm. And really reflective. It can also be really turbulent and stormy. It just kind of depends on where you're at and how well you're going with the flow. So I would just say the general advice right now is just go with it. You got a plan, it gets changed by something, go with it. You want someone to call you on a certain day and they don't, but they'll call you some random day later, go with it, right? It's topsy-turvy energy. And I think the best way to handle it is not to take it personally, but rather decide, I don't know how, but this is somehow working better than my original plan. Like for me, I'm working on a project where I really believed at the beginning of this week that this project would be in the bag and I'd be moving on to my next project. And it's not. No matter how many times I sit down to get it done earnestly, I keep getting interrupted by other events, and it's to the point where I have to laugh at it because something so simple is taking so long. And a friend put it in really good perspective. And she was like, by the time you get this thing done, you're going to be an expert at it. And I thought, yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's delaying me, because there's more for me to learn here. I can't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it too much, so it's hard to give you details, but I'm just saying my perspective is shifting on it. There's probably more for me to learn. I'm going to be able to produce something even better having learned all that, and I had to be slowed down so that I would take the time to go over the steps more thoroughly. I tend to move through things quickly. When I have an idea, I'm ready to get it out there. And I feel like the universe is like, hey, hold up, Therese. Whoa, right? Like holding back the reins and going, let's just review a few steps. Let's go back a few steps and look at something, and then we'll move forward. So if you're feeling like that too, welcome to the club. It's just kind of part of the energy. And my whole approach to it is somehow this is working in my favor. Even if I can't see how yet, it's working in my favor. I'm just going to assume that rather than get myself worked up and upset that I'm being slowed down at this time. So I encourage you to do the same. So Sunday, there's the new moon in Pisces, a great day for manifesting, for really like focusing on, what's your big vision? How does it look? How does it really feel? Like really let yourself go into your imagination. It's super active with so many planets in Pisces. We can really get in there and visualize our future in a way that is very detailed. And I say, let's go for it. So we're going to be working on that in the new moon in Pisces Spirit Circle happening on Sunday, March 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific. If you'd like to join us, here's the link. It's also in the description below where you can click and join us for the manifestation practices, for the channeled messages, and the psychic Q&A. So if that sounds like fun to you, click the message or click the link rather, and know that you will also get a copy of the recording so you can use it anytime you want to work on your manifesting. So now it brings me to the message from the team, which at first I was like, huh? And now that I've talked to you about the energy, I'm like, oh. So the message from the team was like, you have an original idea, something that's very authentic to you that's happening right now. And you might feel like that idea is you're being asked to change it or mold it. Maybe you've got an approach to something that's really out there and different. It's really unique to you. And maybe you shared that idea with someone and they were like, well, I don't know, like that seems odd. Like maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should do it another way. Or you're trying to pursue something and it's just not taking right now. And you're using that as a message that it's not going to happen. So I shouldn't do it. I should just scrap this. And the team is like, don't stop. Don't. That's not what it means right now. Right now, we're just getting a fine tuning. There's a little bit of a hiccup in the system, or things need to be hiccuped. Things need to be shifted and shaked a little. And they're really wanting you to understand that whatever your ideas are right now, they're not going to feel like they're going through. They're going to feel like, why did I get so inspired and then just nothing worked? Are you telling me I'm wrong? And they want you to know, no, that's not the message. You're not being told you're wrong. There is a fine tuning of energy that's happening right now. It's sort of like turbulence on a flight. Your flight is safe and fine, and it's going in the right direction. This is just a little bit of that hiccup, shake-up energy that needs to happen. It's like the universe is just shaking itself out a little bit. And maybe it's testing our commitment to our own desires, to our own heart's desire. So if you're following your heart's desire right now and you feel like you're not getting the green lights that you're expecting to get, that's not meaning you're getting a red light. Amber light just means slow down, right? Like slow down. It doesn't mean you have to stop. So We're being asked not to misinterpret the bumps in energy as a sign from the universe that you shouldn't go there. We're always being asked to check back in with our heart. If it's still in your heart, it is what you're supposed to be doing. We live in a plane, or on a plane, I should say, of energy where we're not guaranteed smooth sailing. It is a turbulent plane that we live on. There's so much contrast, and there's so much energy being shifted around, because it's like being in a room full of they're showing me kindergartners with Lego blocks, and Lego blocks are poured everywhere, and the kindergartners are scrambling around and they're building their towers, but they have to share the resources here, right? So sometimes there's happy building, and sometimes there's scuffles over the energy or the resources available. And we're kind of dealing with that all the time. It doesn't mean there's not enough resources. It just means that sometimes that contrast of contraction or limits actually helps us be more creative. It does get us to slow down and review things when maybe we're missing a step, when maybe we're too gung-ho and we really do need to slow down. So they just want to reiterate that your dream is still viable, even if it's not easy. And our expectation of easy is maybe what gets shook up a little bit. You got to think about the things in your life that you have accomplished. Which one were you more proud of? The one that was easy to accomplish, or the one that challenged you? Which one really makes you feel like, damn, I'm good, I really got it? It's usually the challenging one, right? It's usually the one that pushed back a little on you, or wasn't just handed to you, or wasn't so easy out of the gate. And I'm a person in my life, I have a lot of beginner's luck. I try something and I'm pretty decent at it the first time I try it. But that's not always satisfying. It's like, the ego is like, ooh, I was good at that. And then you go and try again, and then you find out, oh, I've got a lot to learn. And oh, this is harder than it looks, right? So all I can say is that the challenges that we go through actually really give us that sense of accomplishment in the end, more than the path of ease. And if we're associating our heart's desire with something that should be easy, maybe we're not understanding that that's not how it works, right? A heart's desire has to do with your core, your core nature. And the pull to it is very strong. And that's what makes it easy in a way, is because you're so pulled to it. It's really hard to pull you away from it. If you're a natural writer, for example, then it's hard to pull you away from that. If I was like, hey, just don't write it down, just tell me about it, there's a part of you would be like, oh, but I just long to write it down. You'd wait until you could get pen and paper, or, a computer, so that you could then write it down. Like, you want to hold on to it till you get to that thing. It's so easy for you to withstand the urge to just let it all out until you can put it on paper, because that's how drawn to it you are. That's your heart's desire. So when it comes to things that are our heart's desire, we are actually almost immune to certain challenges. We're immune to it because we're like, okay, I can wait until I can sit down with my paints, or I can wait until I get that certain color of paint that I want back, and to let this go. I'm just trying to think of examples of what it feels like. Your heart's desire has challenged you many times. It's just you're willing to face that challenge. These are slightly bigger challenges because they're not the challenge of patience necessarily, although in some cases they are. It feels a little bit, the energy this week feels a little jerky, kind of like you're learning how to drive a stick shift, and you're just not good at switching gears yet. So you get that kind of feeling. That's the energy this week. And they just want to reassure you that just because it feels like that doesn't mean you're not on track and it's not authentic to you. It just means that this is a period where the fine-tuning may be coming in, and a little bit of the malaise is getting shaken off. right? This idea that it should be so easy. Think about how good it feels to get it, and remind yourself that you're a creator being. Nothing's going to stop you but you. That's the truth. That's the truth about success in general. The only people who aren't successful are the ones who didn't keep going. The ones who keep going always are successful. Doesn't mean it's easy, but as long as you don't stop, you're going to get it. And so the team wants to kind of reemphasize that for you and kind of like shake the dust off of you, shake the worry or doubt off of you, and said, no one said this would be easy, but I do promise you it'll be worth it. So with that, let's look at this week's karma cards. I have 3 decks here, planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and simply feel, what is it you need for this week? Are you looking for action related guidance? Or are you more interested in to see how things turn out for the rest of the week? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is from March 7th through March 14th. And the flavor of this reading. All right, we've got Jupiter. Yeah! I love this planet. Jupiter's all about the expansion, good fortune, things coming through, and I'm loving that energy in the sign of Gemini, which is all about being able to communicate what those desires are or what you're trying to express. And our old friend, the first house, is back. So this is more about the self-expression and self-understanding. So more about ourself is coming through. All right. So for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to learn or teach what you want to be known immediately. So plans might not go through this week, but you're supposed to go through. You're supposed to keep going, right? So whatever it is, it's interesting because there is sort of a caveat to public speaking with this particular Mars and Uranus combination on Saturday, or just talking to someone out loud. You're not really going to be able to plan it, but something really beautiful can be expressed during this time, something truly authentic and unusual or different, just different, something off the cuff can be expressed at this time. So they're letting us know it's not a time to hold back on, like hunker down or stay low to the ground. You can still be very expressive. It's just going to come out in a way that feels very improv, right? It's just improvised and off the cuff, and yet possibly very effective in the way it's delivered. Mental action at this time. Be positive about what is believed about the way that you project yourself. So they're saying that during this window, it's easy to feel insecure about the things that you're trying to create, especially when plans aren't working out and you're not sure. It kind of creates this feeling of, is it me? Is it me? Like, is it just, am I too awkward to do this? Like, am I not supposed to do this? And they're letting you know, no, people like it. They like what you've got, whatever it is that you're aligning to, that you're desiring to put out there, that's coming from your heart. When it comes from your heart, people like it. They like it. It resonates well from you. And it's well received. So just because it feels awkward or it's not moving in that predictable pattern that you'd like it to, where you're like, okay, this is working, that there's no sign that it's not working. It's just this, again, there's this element of the unexpected that throws us off. It can lead us into the insecurity, but that's just a personal sort of reaction to unpredictable energy. In every other instance, what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're putting it out there is really well received. And if it comes from your heart, people get it, they like it. And you can start enjoying it too. Physical action at this time. Grow and expand. Use the quickest way and do it on your own. So they're telling me the quickest way is to go right back to your heart. So when you are not getting the outcomes that you're looking for, maybe you're putting in effort right now and you're not getting the result you want, right? Here, I put in the effort. Now I'm getting like a busy signal, or I'm getting like a missed, like it's just not connecting. The quickest way to grow and expand is to go right back to your heart and just feel it. Is it in my heart? Is this aligned for me? Is this the thing I want to create? Does it feel like it just resonates for me? Like I could wait for this. If I knew I'm getting it, I could wait for it. Then yeah, that's the quickest way to do it. Go right into your heart and it'll start moving again. You'll start feeling it internally before you see it on the external, but it'll catch up pretty fast. It's again, just in this period of time where, how do I explain it? You know how when we're putting energy out there, we just kind of can feel, all right, it's going to come back in a reasonable amount of time. Like we can feel this return. There's just, I don't know how to say it. It's just a feeling. It's a gut feeling where you're like, I just did that. Something's going to return. Like for an example, I post something on social media and I expect, a like or maybe a comment. Like I just feel like something's coming back. Well, in this period of time, it's like I put the thing out there and I'm like, where is it? That feeling right now. They're letting you know, just go back in, go back inside. Do you like it? Do you like what you just put out? Do you want to put more of that out? Great, do that some more. Do you like it? The feedback, the return is coming. It's just not, it's a delayed return feeling. That's what I'm getting. Okay, so now let's look at outcomes in Jupiter in Gemini in the first house of self-expression. Spiritual outcome at this time, the granting of information to explain who you are. I think that this comes from the fact that in order to feel anything, in order to feel your traction right now, you're going to have to go back into your heart. So naturally, you're going to learn more about who you are. It's just going to show up because you're going inside yourself again just to get that sense of traction. Like, okay, team, you said that this isn't, this delay is not a sign that I'm doing the wrong thing, that I should continue going. And you're telling me I need to go in my heart to feel my traction. So I'm going in my heart and, oh yeah, I'm really into this. I'm really into what I'm doing. Not only that, but it feels so aligned and I feel so free pursuing this path or moving forward in this direction or expressing myself in this way. And so again, just by having to go inward and check in with yourself again, more information about who you are will be available to you. Mental outcome at this time, blessings from communications about your desires. This goes back to kind of what was said before, but just, when you're like, I'm not sure if this is resonating. Does anyone like this? Yeah, people like it. Again, when you are aligned with your heart's desire, you are very authentic. We've discovered now that authenticity is the highest vibration, even higher than love. It's very radiant energy. People like it, right? So you're going to feel that. So you might not be seeing yet that traction you want or those outcomes that you want, but you will be feeling like, anybody who's getting a chance to interact with you in this period of deeper digging into your heart about what's aligned for you and really sort of reinvesting your energy into your heart's desire makes you very potent energy and very enjoyable energy to be around. So people will express that to you. You will be getting some kind of very likely verbal feedback about, I really admire you for doing this, or I really love that you're so passionate about this. I just feel like you get support for showing up for yourself because you start by supporting yourself, right? Having your own back and connecting with your own desire. And then people also sort of show up and are like, that's amazing. You're so inspiring that you're really doing it. Man, it makes me want to do it. And then you could be like, yeah, you should do it, right? So good feelings coming around. Physical outcome at this time, good fortune resulting from the fluctuations of your actions. And I just feel like this again is sort of talking about they were, how they said there was turbulence or they're going to slow you down, make you go back a few steps and review things. This really does. They're saying, yeah, it does work out in your favor. All of this turbulent energy of like disruption and missed connections, missed phone calls, no phone call, um, things that you planned to do that didn't get done because somebody else needed something or you had to go somewhere else, whatever it is, all of it's actually for your benefit. Really good things come out of it because getting you to sort of reconnect with, is this what I want, always ends up being a really good choice. It's good for us to reconnect with it and really check back in from time to time. Sometimes I don't know if I feel like afraid of doing that sometimes. Like I don't want to talk myself out of something. I don't know if you get that feeling or not, but every once in a while I'm like, um, I've already made up my mind. I'm not looking back, but it's really good to look in and check, not because you're trying to get out of anything necessarily, but you're just trying to see like, am I still really connected to this? Or was I connected to something that felt like this, but it's not this exactly? I think for the most part, if we're listening to our heart and we're following its call, we're pretty connected, but it's a good idea to go in and check. And like I said, the delays might actually be for your benefit and not against you. And that's kind of what I'm getting from the team this week. They're like, I promise you it's actually for your benefit. So if you're finding that delays, the plans aren't going through, you're not getting the traction you want this week, and you're like, I'm losing it, don't despair. You're not. It's actually being delayed in your favor for whatever reason. Maybe the person you're supposed to connect with wasn't in a good mood the day you were supposed to connect, and it's a blessing that you didn't connect with them that day. Maybe you needed a little bit more knowledge or information on what you were working on to help you make an even better product or outcome. Whatever it is, this delay is in service of you and not working against you. And so it's something you can allow yourself to just sit back and relax and be like, sometimes you just got to go with the flow. And with that, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.